Hello YouTube, I have here for you today the Cold Steel Spartan knife. Now, this knife is advertised to be very strong and a very durable combat knife, but will that be proved to me? I don't know, let's find out, let's talk about it. Is it as good as they say it is? Let's find out. First off, the price. This knife on the website, the Cold Steel website, costs $109.99, probably plus shipping. So, of course, if you do a little research, you can always find something a little bit cheaper, whether that be used or new from someone else. I bought this new from someone who didn't want it on eBay for about $50, which is a pretty good price. The knife itself, very intimidating knife, not much of a people's knife. So you pull this out in front of someone, people start freaking out. They don't know why you carry this. They ask you, they're like, why do you carry that? It's not very much a utility knife. It's obviously more of a combat knife. I will get into that later. And at first sight of the actual knife, not a picture, not a video, but when you first see it, it is a little bit bigger than you expect and definitely a little bit heavier. No matter how many times someone tells you how big it is and how heavy it is, it always just still surprises you a little bit when you finally get it in your hands. The weight of this knife, let's see. Just give this a second to load. 9.2 ounces. So this is a very heavy, hefty knife. You know, a lot of people don't like that. They don't like a big knife, too heavy, weighs down your pockets, whatever. But I like a knife that's heavy. I don't know if I've said that before. I like a knife that you can put in your pocket, and for the rest of the day, you can kind of feel the weight of it. You can know it's there. You can know you didn't forget it. It's reassuring. Otherwise, some knives you just pull out of your pocket to cut something open, like a box or whatever, and you put it down somewhere, and then you don't remember to put it back in your pocket, and you don't even know, because either way, you wouldn't really feel it in your pocket. That's just my point of view on it, though. A lot of people don't like that. I think weight is good. The blade. Let's onto the blade section of this. The blade is... It doesn't have any blade variations. It's just all one thing. This is the only one you can find. There's no serrated or anything, just like this. The length of this is, I believe, 4.5 inches. And 4.5 it is. Right here. The thickness, 3 millimeters thickness. Material, this is made out of AUS 8 stainless steel. But is it really stainless steel? Just how stainless is it? I don't know if you can see, but this does have a lot of rust on it right now. It's got all these little tiny spots of brown, and that's rust from just pocket sweat. I mean, it's been hot out lately. I've been carrying this knife, and it gets kind of moist inside my pocket. And this gets rusty right away, and that is, it's not like I've been dipping this in the pool or anything, or going through a jungle with this. I've just been having it in my pocket, and it gets rusty. It's very rusty, actually, like more rustier than any knife should ever be, especially for not having done anything with it besides carry it around in my pocket. So that is definitely a downside. It's a pretty big drawback. A lot of people don't like that. I actually talked to one of the Cold Steel guys from Twitter. He told me that the bead blast finish on this knife, which is the finish, by the way, it's bead blast, leaves pores in the metal. And those pores are used for you to be able to oil it and all this stuff. But I don't know about you, but I don't like having to take too much care of my knives. I don't like having to give them way too much attention. I just like carrying them and using them whenever I need to use them, and not having to worry about, oh, did I oil this today, or did I oil it yesterday, or is it wet, or do I have to dry it? No, a knife should be, shouldn't have to have that much maintenance. It should just be a knife, and it should just be there for when you need it, not need you. You should need the knife. The knife shouldn't need you to oil it and stuff like that. So I don't like that. That's something that I actually really dislike about it, but I think that's one of the very few things. Yes, so like I said, bead blast finish, don't like it. The geometric strength of this knife, well, is designed after the Spartan Scopus sword, And if you look at a picture of it, if you Google it, it actually looks a lot like it. It looks a lot like the sword, and it's got that point where it's got this, and it's got a big belly. So it's got a big belly for slashing and hacking, but at the same time it's got this really nice point for stabbing. So it's good. Ready sharpness. Ready sharpness. It's sharp. Very sharp. Cut myself first day with it, trying to close it. As we all know, these cold steel locks are almost impossible to break into. The handle part. Alright. Ergonomics. This knife is, as I said, designed after that sword that the Spartans carried, that kind of wraps around your hand like this. So it's actually very good. It doesn't have any jimping or any thumb traction on this or any ramp or anything, but you don't really need it because your hand is held in here by the handle. Now, I have a small hand, so my hand kind of can dance around in here like this, but I've seen people with giant hands just grip it, and it's actually more of a comfortable grip for them. And, you know, good for you. It's a good knife for no matter how big your hands are, I guess. For reverse grip, just as comfortable. It's almost the same thing. Thumb traction, I already said. There is nothing. No thumb traction. It's got these little, if you can see there, it's got little etchings of lines on there, but that does absolutely nothing. No thumb ramp at all. And the material of the handle is Grivory. I think that's how you say it. It's got a good grip. I like it. It's grippy enough that your hand won't slip around in it, but also, unlike the Recon 1, it's not grippy enough that it'll tear your pants and you have to buy new jeans. It's got liners. They're not skeletonized, but you know what? They're not that much. They don't make the knife that much heavier, so I don't think it'd even make a difference. Onto the deployment. The deployment of this knife, it's got this thumb plate. This is the cold steel thumb plate that also hooks onto your pocket. So as you're pulling it out, if you slide it onto the back of your pocket like this, your pocket should grip it, and if you keep pulling it, eventually open it. So this could be a very fast opener, but if you don't want that, say you're pulling it out in front of a police officer who just wants to make sure, you know, who's checking you for whatever reason, you don't want to whip it out and whip out the blades. They're probably going to tase you or pepper spray you or something like that. You don't want that. So you can always just kind of pull it out gently, and that won't happen, and then you can just open it like this. Or if you're trying to, for whatever reason, not open it that way, if you're in a crowded place. Because the bad thing about that opening system is you kind of pull it back like this, so if someone's behind you, you'd probably cut their arm off. It's got a, yes, this thumb plate, it's ambidextrous, so you don't need to reverse or anything. It's just there, and it's right hand, left hand, same thing. It opens pretty quickly if you use the pocket, and pretty effortlessly if you practice it a little bit. You get the hang of it pretty quickly. It's pretty safe too, especially if you're opening it like this rather than with the pocket thing. So nothing to worry about there. The lock. It's got the cold steel triad lock. Very strong. Saw other videos of people hanging, I think it was 600 pounds off of this, and it still worked fine. I'm not going to say it was perfect. I think it did have a little bit of play after that, but it was still a functioning knife, you know. It's pretty loud, you know. It's got that loud click that all the triad locks have. I'm not a huge fan of it, but, you know, whatever. I don't really care. I'm not sneaking up on anybody to use this, so I don't really care about the loudness of it. Absolutely no blade play. And if there is a little bit, if ever, it's always going to be side to side, and all you have to do is tighten this very little bit, because if you over tighten it, then it's not going to do this, which you want this. This is for safety reasons. Yeah, pretty easy to use knife. I mean, I've been carrying it for a while now. I've had it for a while. I don't review knives out of the box because sometimes you get the knife, you review it, and then a couple weeks pass and you realize, hey, this knife is not what I thought it was. It's actually very bad. And I mean, you went on the internet and you told everybody it was a good knife. So I always carry the knives for a while before I review them. I use them for things, you know, for whatever reasons. I carry them every day. Use almost everyday carry knives for, I don't know, a couple weeks at least before I review them, just to make sure everything's, you know, going well with it. Everything's sturdy. Everything's staying like it should stay. And the carry method of this knife, it's got the reversible pocket clip. You have right, left pocket, and only tip up carry. You do not have tip down carry, and that is for, like I said, for this reason, because this, you need to carry it tip up for that to deploy that way. It has a lanyard hole right here, if you're into that. I'm not. I don't care about it. And the practicality of this knife, this is mostly a combat knife. For utility purposes, I've used it. It's pretty good, but I like my utility knives to have serrations on them, easier to cut boxes and stuff like that. For self-defense purposes, this is a very scary knife. This would work excellent for self-defense. Non-lethality of this knife. You do have this right here. This, even though this is non-lethality, this would probably kill someone if you hit them hard enough in the head. But you could hit someone, say, in the back or in the chest with this, you know, self-defense. Just give them a good one with this. That'll get them out of your face, running away, you know, whatever. It's good. It's good for non-lethality. It's got a good grip, and you could always just pummel people with it. Works great. For survival, not really. Gets too rusty. Eventually that rust is going to eat away at the blade. It's going to mess it up. It's going to make it dull. I don't know how far that rust is going to go, and I don't want to find out. I'd rather not. So I would not use this for a survival knife, even though it is excellent in every other way for that. I have cut wood with it. Batoning works fine, you know, all that. But the rust absolutely eliminates it off that category. I would not want a knife that I am using out in the jungle, for example, to get rusty on me. That's not good. Combat purposes, if you're in the military or whatever, it's a pretty good knife. But like I said, if you don't mind oiling your knife every day, maybe you could oil it when you oil your gun, however often that is, and just make sure it's dry and it doesn't get moist, because then it will get rusty, and then you have to sand the rust down a little bit and re-shine it and all that crap, and that's annoying. So you don't want to have to do that every day. Now, just a recap of this. Good knife. It's generally an amazing knife, more combat oriented rather than for utility purposes. For an everyday carry knife, it's pretty good if it's legal in your state, the blade length and all that. But it does take up like a lot of space in your pocket. So this would be like everything you carry in that pocket, and anything else, and it would just be uncomfortable. But it's pretty good. It's very strong knife, very strong. As a matter of fact, when this locks up, it feels solid. It feels really solid. It feels like a fixed blade, actually. And the downs, the rust, that is about it. Just the rust. It's very annoying. Don't like it at all. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves. Knives that get rusty. Don't like it. Mods, am I going to be doing modifications to this knife? Yes. I'm going to buy the tools, because I don't have them yet, to give this a mirror polish, hopefully eliminate that rust issue, and this would be an even better knife. And that's about it. That's about it for this knife. I don't think I'm going to be doing any other modifications to it or anything. Maybe give it another little groove here for you to put your finger there like that if you want to, you know, get a little closer to something you're cutting. You don't want to slide into the blade. It's very sharp. And yeah, I don't know. It's totally worth it if you find it for cheaper than what they sell it on the website. I bought it for $50. Absolutely worth it, even though it's got the rust issue. Like I said, I'm going to work on that. Right now I'm working on another modification for my Recon 1. I took the Teflon off, and I am doing a lot of stuff to it, actually. I'm going to put it in a separate video. I don't want to get into it right now. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Great knife. If you have the chance to pick one up for, I don't know, $60 or under, maybe $70, do it. It's totally worth it. Just be sure to take care of that blade and the rust. Thank you very much. You guys have a nice day.